I am a Harry Potter fan. I've said this before in a couple of other videos that I'm doing, but this is something that's a bit different. So, as I've said before, I'm a Harry Potter fan myself. I think some of you out there may be. If you're not, that's fine. If you are, then that's fine as well. Those of us who are fans of Harry Potter, we're considered, in the franchise, we are considered Potterheads. Yes, you did hear me say correctly, Potterheads, not potheads. I'm not saying that there aren't any, because I'm sure there are. Those that do smoke the herb, we call them the herbology students. Easily recognised because they wear Hufflepuff robes. The clues in the joke on that one. Got me thinking, actually, with some of the characters that they've had. You know, when we found out that they were doing the films for them back in, I think I think it was 2000 that the signs of it saying that they were going to do films of it came out. Maybe 2001, around there anyway. But I do remember the hype for them and I remember everything that went with them, and it was wonderful to hear it all. I became a Harry Potter fan courtesy of my sister. And it got me thinking that maybe you could do something like a quick stand-up routine with this. What if you could? Well, in the films they had Richard Harris, who played the first ever Professor Dumbledore. And I'll mention something else about him in a minute, but Richard Harris played a character called Rafer Janders in the film The Wild Geese back in 1979. If he'd have just turned round to the kids and said, on the very first day of term, I have a few start of term notices I wish to announce. Look, back in 1979, I helped get a man out of a South African country in the film The Wild Geese. If any of you little upstarts tries anything funny this year, I will not hesitate to snap your neck like a twig. Yes, Malfoy, I'm looking at you. He genuinely would have scared the living daylights out of the kids that were there. He would have kept them in line. Another good character they could have had, another good actor they could have had for this was Brian Blessed. Just for the fact that he's loud in general. He's naturally very loud. It would have worked. He gets up, the Brian Blessed version of him gets up and says, I have a few start of term notices I wish to announce. Harry's arrived! That would have worked. Perfectly, it would have worked, because then it makes everything click into place properly. Another person that they had in the films was Miriam Margolyes, who played the character of Professor Sprout. Now, I personally think what they should have done was just give Professor Sprout a sex change, made Professor Sprout from being a witch to a wizard, and I'll explain why. They would have got the perfect person for this particular role. Had they done this, would have been Richard Attenborough. No, sorry, David Attenborough. Would have been David Attenborough, not Richard Attenborough, he's already dead. Richard Attenborough. Yeah, David Attenborough. It would have been David Attenborough, because he would have been perfect for this role. Yeah, he would have been amazing as that herbology teacher. It appears we have found a rare breed of cabbage, and its name is Neville Longbottom. Again, perfect, because he's teaching the kids something. Rare breed of cabbage is effectively the Chinese chomping cabbage, for those of us who are in the know. And then, of course, we have, what's his name? Robbie Coltrane, who played Rubeus Hagrid. Now, if anyone remembers, Rubeus Hagrid became the Care of Magical Creatures teacher in the third film and third book. I personally think what they should have done was had Johnny Vegas play that part. If anyone remembers, 2023, December 2023, Johnny Vegas brought back the Wombles. He did. He genuinely brought them back. Sadly, he was only directing them. He should have narrated them, though. That would have been perfect. Because, again, it's just how we would have worked. These things here, they're called Wombles, right? They're only about sort of knee-high. Now, the thing with Wombles is that they've got their own personalities. This one here, he's called Uncle Bulgaria. He sits and just wants to read the paper in peace. Now you've got Unfortunately, though, we can't do that because he's got Madame Cholet up his arse about the washing up, and then we've got a Orinoco over there who's making such a racket with that trombone he brought back to the burrow. Take it outside, you noisy little sod. I'm trying to do a lesson here. Again, would have worked perfectly. It genuinely would have worked perfectly. But that, really, yeah. I'll say this just before I finish. I remember going to Cambridge recently with my wife and my kid. We went for we went for just a half-term break. And like me, you've probably seen some of these wizarding shops turn up. You've probably seen a few of them, you know, like the House of Wizards or, you know, Ministry of Magic, sort of stuff like that. I mean, they've all got these sort of names, and they sell mostly Harry Potter things. I went into one of these back in Cambridge, and I said to the guy who was running it, look, as much as I like these shops, you need to understand that these shops go against the statute of secrecy laws. We're not supposed to let the Muggles know we exist. Oh, crap, did I just say that out loud? Okay, don't panic. Obliviate!